shall we begin?
Let the games begin.
All right.
A new age has begun. An age of freedom.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
Get to the chopper!
This is going to be quite the ride.
And hello, everybody, and welcome to the Movie Pit Podcast. I am your host, Christian Renteria. This is the Movie Pit Podcast, where we talk about all the big breaking movie news items of the week. We also talk about the movie trailers that came out this week. We have a lot of those. And we will talk about the movies that are out in theaters this weekend and streaming for all your viewing pleasures. Hello, everybody. So before I get started, I want to apologize for last week for not having a podcast. That it was just, it was weird. It was weird. There wasn't a lot of movie news last week anyway, but I had thought about putting up a pre-recorded podcast that I had done, but apparently I lost it. I lost a few of those, actually. So if you follow me on the Twitter account for the podcast, I lost some of those. I don't know where they went. I searched high and far for those episodes, and I just lost them. I don't know what I did to them. Maybe I don't know. But I lost them, so I apologize for that, for not having a podcast last week. And like I mentioned, I'm a terrible podcast host, so makes every day leaving this podcast a little more easier for me. No, I'm not leaving. Not anytime soon. Anyway, moving on. Let's talk about the podcast this week. Like I mentioned at the top, we have a lot of trailers that came out this week. So trailer talk's going to be really big this week. And we have some pretty big movie news items as well. But we're going to start off with the trailers just because a lot of the time when we have a lot of trailers, a lot of them are usually like really big trailers. We have some big trailers that came out this week. But for the most part, a lot of these trailers, I don't really have too much to say about them. So we're just going to start off like we always do. I sometimes switch it around, but I think this time we're going to go with the more standard format that I'm usually used to, and anyone who listens regularly is also used to as well. So, trailer talk.
Coming soon to theaters.
First trailer we're going to talk about is the first full trailer for the Rob Zombie The Munsters movie. And listen, if you listen to the podcast enough, you know that I'm not very much of a negative person. Sometimes the negativity comes out of me, but a lot of times it's constructive, right? It comes from a place of, you know, things that have been done in the past that could have fixed this, or could have not led to whatever is going on. But this trailer, it looks god awful. I never want to bash on anybody, because obviously making a movie is very hard. And if you have a lot of movies under your belt like Rob Zombie does, it's hard to imagine that this is done by someone who has done movies before, because this thing looks extremely cheap. And I don't know if that was a look that Zombie was going for. I don't know why he would choose to make it look like that, because it looks extremely cheap. It looks like he didn't really have a budget, and apparently there are reports that he didn't really have as big of a budget as, any other movie or something with an IP like this would warrant. I guess this was a choice that he had made to make the movie look like this, and I don't know why, because again, it looks awful. I've seen YouTube short films that look more better than this. I don't know why he would. It immediately took me out of it. And when the teaser came out, I mentioned, and this is just me bashing on it. There's been a lot of criticism of the trailer online as well, especially the way it looks. And I don't want to be like I'm ragging on and jumping on the bandwagon, because when the teaser came out, what was like last month, or a little bit more than that, I mentioned that I was not excited for the Munsters movie, mainly because of Rob Zombie. I am not the biggest Rob Zombie fan. I'm not the biggest fan of his movies. The only movie that I would say that I could say that I enjoyed, I don't even know if I like it as much, I enjoyed it when I first saw it, maybe I have to go back and see if that changed, is The Devil's Rejects. And that's it. And even then, it's like, because you're following a group of characters that are not supposed to be the best characters in the world. So I am not the biggest fan of Rob Zombie in general. I know about the Munsters. I watched, the reruns of reruns of reruns of reruns of reruns when I was little. So I know it. And everyone knows the theme and stuff like that. But this looks awful. Like, not even like, oh, I'm going to go watch this because it's going to be so bad. Like, no, this looks like I'm going to stay far away from this movie. Unless someone literally forces me to watch the Munsters, I don't think I'm going to watch this movie at all. The trailer's that bad. For me. There's no release date yet for the movie. It comes out in September. But if you want to watch the trailer, if you haven't seen it yet, again, all the trailers, as always, will be linked down below. Yeah, this just looks bad. Okay, let's move on to some trailers that didn't look as bad, that I found rather interesting. Paramount Plus released the first trailer for Secret Headquarters, which follows a group of kids. One of them is Walker Scobell, who we just saw recently in the Atom Project. So I don't know if he filmed, I think he might have filmed the Atom Project first and then this, or something along those lines, but he's in here. It looks like he will be the main kid that we follow because he finds out, along with his friends, that his father, played by Owen Wilson, is somehow a superhero. He and his friends then must protect his father's technology from getting into the wrong hands. Michael Pena co-stars in the movie. It looks like he's playing one of the main villains, or if not the main villain. It's fun. It is labeled as a family action film, so it doesn't look too bad. Some of the effects are a little dodgy, but I mean, it doesn't look, terrible. It looks like another fun, family, this looks like a fun family movie that you can just watch, on a Friday night or Saturday night or whatever, with your family. So it will stream on Paramount Plus. Sorry, I gotta move my outline up. It will stream on Paramount Plus on August 12th. If you want to go check that out. It doesn't look too bad. It looks like the power suit that makes Owen Wilson a superhero, it looks very Iron Man-y. So I don't know. I'm sure it's not a dig, but it looks very Iron Man-y. So if you want to go, obviously, if you want to make the comparisons, there you go. And obviously Michael Pena being part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe obviously makes that connection a little more funnier. All right, moving on to the next trailer. This is also going to be on Paramount Plus. It will come out in Paramount Plus, digital, and select theaters. But it looks like if you really want to watch it, or immediately anyway, Paramount Plus will be that home. Orphan First Kill. This is a prequel to the movie Orphan, and it will bring back Isabella Fuhrman, who played, of course, Esther in the first movie. And apparently they're bringing her back. They didn't do any, CGI to de-age or anything. Apparently everything was used. Everything that they used was camera angles and kind of a new makeup technique to make her look younger than she was, or at least the same age as she was in the very first Orphan movie. So it looks this time around that she finds a wealthy family and pretends to be their daughter before doing what Esther does and did in the first Orphan movie. Orphan First Kill, like I mentioned, will be open on select theaters, on digital, and will stream on Disney Plus. It will stream on Paramount Plus. I see the plus signal and I just immediately go to Disney. We'll stream on Paramount Plus on August 19th. I'm pretty sure I've seen the first Orphan movie because there's a lot of imagery from that movie that I remember, but I haven't seen it in a while. I think I only seen it the once when it first came out. I don't even think I saw it in theaters. I think I saw it when it came out on DVD. So I don't have that much of a connection to it. Again, some of the imagery really sticks out to me. Of course, the twist of who Esther is and stuff like that. Obviously, I remember that as well. So I don't know. I guess this looks interesting. It looks kind of pretty much what the first one is. I mean, you can't really change up everything from that prospect. I mean, the twist is kind of already given away. And it looks like even in the trailer, it looks like the twist is given away too, in case this is the first time you're seeing that kind of twist. So I don't know. It looks fine. It doesn't look too bad. Next trailer we're going to talk about is Lionsgate released the first trailer for Fall, which follows two best friends, one of whom is still struggling with the death of one of her loved ones, who climb a 2,000-foot remote abandoned radio tower in the middle of nowhere. And unfortunately for them, as you can imagine, the ladder breaks down, and they have to find a way to get down from the tower without, of course, falling to their death 2,000 feet below. I remember hearing they were going to make this movie. And I didn't hear and then I didn't hear anything after that. And then now, we get the first trailer, and the trailer looks okay. It does look like they're in the middle. They are literally in the middle of nowhere. It's like they're in a remote. Again, it says remote abandoned radio tower. That's exactly what it is, because they're in the middle of nowhere, and it looks like it's just going to be the two girls. I forgot to put down who was playing them, but it didn't look like anybody. It looks like a relatively unknown cast, or at least a cast that's going to highlight them and maybe push them into stardom with this. Jeffrey Dean Morgan is in the movie. It looks like he's playing the father of the girl whose loved one. I think it's her boyfriend. I think it's her boyfriend, or maybe her husband or someone. Dies. So he is in the movie. It looks like he's the big name that they got people to agree to come to this. But it doesn't look like he's in the movie that long, because it looks like it will follow the two girls and them being stuck up in the tower with no food. Doesn't look like they have any water either. So yeah, I don't know. The idea of it sounds interesting. Obviously, I think we've seen these kind of survival movies, obviously, but I don't know. This one looks doesn't look too bad. It looks okay. Yeah, I don't really have too much to say about it. It looks interesting. That's saying the most of what I can put on there. So Fall will open in theaters on August 12th, so you can go check that out. The next trailer we're going to talk about is a relatively short trailer. It's for a Netflix film called Carter. It is a Korean action film, and the movie follows the titled character of Carter, who wakes up 2 months into a deadly pandemic that has already taken over the U.S. and Korea, and Carter, who also has no memories of who he is, has a voice in his head that tells him to keep going and do what she tells him to do. Otherwise, a bomb in his mouth will go off and kill him. So yeah, that is the basic rundown. So Carter is on the run from the CIA, whatever is left of the Korean government, and infected people. Although you don't really get the infected people bit in the teaser too much, unless you're really paying attention, or you read a synopsis. The movie was also, and this is the big one, it does look like it in the trailer as well. Obviously, they cut it up in the trailer, but just the shots they were giving, it does look like it was shot this way. The movie is shot apparently as one continuous take. Movies like 1917, which is the war movie that came out, was it 2 years ago? 2019. That's what it was. No, I put it down in my notes. Yeah, 2019. And Hardcore Henry was another one as well that was shot this way, although that was shot more as a point of view kind of movie. But yeah, this movie was apparently shot as one continuous take. And there's a scene in the trailer that does remind me a lot of Hardcore Henry as well, because it looks like they're in the middle of this long ass road, and there's cars chasing him, and then there's like just stuff going on. He's jumping from like one car to another car, and then to like this big construction truck or something like that. But yeah, it's it kind of gave me that vibe of like Hardcore Henry and stuff like that. But this looks pretty interesting. It looks pretty cool. I didn't know anything about it, and then I saw it and I was like, this, and then I learned that it was one continuous take style movie, and I was like, that piqued my interest even more. So I'm definitely looking forward to this. It does come out soon. It will come out on August 5th. Once again on Netflix, so you can go check that out. I'm definitely going to be checking that out, because it looks cool. It does look cool. The infected people bit, you kind of get that a little bit in the trailer. The trailer really just, it's showing more of him running away and fighting off like some shady people that are coming after him. And we don't know. There's literally nothing giving us why they're chasing him. So we'll obviously have to see that when the movie comes out. But there you go. All right, so we only got 2 more trailers left. The next trailer we're talking about is the first trailer for She Said. It dropped this week, and this is based off the New York Times best-selling investigative journalism piece, which revealed and exposed Harvey Weinstein for being basically a scumbag. So the movie will follow the 2 reporters played in the movie by Carey Mulligan and Zoe Kazdan, who try to break the long-enduring silence around the sexual assault in Hollywood. The movie looks extremely powerful from the trailer. It does have a Spotlight kind of feel. Obviously, Spotlight itself was based also on a true story about the church hiding priest who assaults people as well. So this looks really great. It threw me off a little bit. There's one scene in the movie where it's Carey Mulligan and Zoe Kazdan talking, and it just, I don't know, the framing looked a little weird. So, but other than that, probably scene that's gonna bother me. maybe it was like a depth perception thing. I don't know. But anyway, the trailer itself looks very great. It looks very powerful. It doesn't look like Harvey Weinstein will be a character in the movie per se, because we don't see who plays Harvey Weinstein. I forgot to look up who was playing him. But it doesn't look like he's going to play a character. We do see someone who I'm assuming is Harvey Weinstein in the movie, like kind of walking in this like company or building, or this, what some sort of building, and he has like people around him, and he's walking away, but we don't see his face. We just see behind him, but we know that that's Harvey Weinstein. And then we hear his voice at one point where he's talking to, I'm assuming it's him, where he's talking to the New York Times people, not just the reporters, but like everyone else in the room as well. Andre Bauer's in there. I think he plays the guy that's in charge of the New York Times, or at least that investigative journalism division. But this looks really powerful. Like I mentioned, it gave Spotlight vibes for me a little bit. Zoe Kazdan and Carey Mulligan. It looks like it's going to be their movie, along with a few people who are highlighted women that they're talking to. There's nothing really definitive that says like, oh, this is so and so in Hollywood or anything like that. It does look like they're playing someone important, but it never says like, oh, this is this actress, or this is this actress, or something along those lines. But yeah, this again, I can't really say any other word that this looks very powerful and it looks very good. And Kazdan and Carey Mulligan are probably going to be in the running for Oscar picks, because this will come out on November 18th, right in the prime Oscar division race. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out with everybody in Hollywood, especially considering that Harvey Weinstein is still, for whatever reason, even though all the evidence is pointing to the fact that he did it and he's a scumbag, is still trying to lower his sentence, even to this day, after even being convicted. So, yeah, there you go. All right, so She Said will come out on November 18th. And the last trailer we're going to talk about this week is another film for Netflix. It dropped this week, the first trailer for their upcoming vampire action comedy called Day Shift. The movie stars Jamie Foxx as a hardworking blue-collar dad who wants to provide for his daughter, but his job is just a front for his real source of income, which is hunting down and killing vampires for the International Union of Vampire Hunters. Yes, that is a thing in the movie. So I've actually been waiting for this movie for a little bit, because I like the idea. I thought the idea was pretty cool. And it's also being directed by J.J. Perry, who, this is his directorial debut. And J.J. Perry has done a lot of stunt work and a lot of stunt fight choreography in Hollywood for movies like the original Mortal Kombat, The One, Planet of the Apes, Serenity, Daredevil, Constantine, X-Men Origins Wolverine, and even worked on the John Wick movies, and has worked with the guys who created John Wick. So that's just a handful of things that he has done. If you go look at his IMDb credits, he has done a lot of stuff, like a lot of projects, and I'd be here for hours reading the stuff that he has done. So he is one of the big guys that you want to get if you're doing like stunt and fight choreography. So I'm really excited for him. And a little side story, I mentioned this also on my Twitter, if you followed it, or if you follow it. I met JJ Perry a while ago. This is a long time ago at a film festival that's unfortunately no longer around. But he was there, and they were doing a panel, and after the panel, we got to go up and meet him and take pictures with him, and we were kind of like one of the last people there in line to go like meet him and stuff. And so, he spent a little more time with me and my brother and another fight choreographer that was there. And we were talking, and he was talking about a movie. I forgot what he was. He might have been talking about Warrior. I think he did work on Warrior or some other like boxing movie that he was. So he was doing something like boxing or MMA. And I don't know why Warrior comes to mind, but I don't even think he worked on Warrior. But he was talking about something that was related to like boxing or MMA. And I will always remember this, and it will always be my J.J. Perry story, even though I don't know anybody who knows J.J. Perry. But he was talking about it, and I happened to be standing next to him. So he was like, he turned to me, and he was like, "Can you turn your body around?" I was like, "Sure." And he wasn't actually punching me, but he was using me as a pretend punching bag. Like trying to like tell like where like, you know, they were going to put the camera and like kind of the dynamic of the fight scene that he was working on. So I thought that was really cool, that I got used as a pretend punching bag for JJ Perry. So that's my JJ Perry story. And I always like telling that story because, I don't really have a lot of those stories, so I like telling that one. So that's what made me really interested for the movie, the concept and the fact that it was directed by J.J. Perry, because I know his work, and I've seen his work. And anytime he pops up on screen as a stunt choreographer or, you know, second unit director, I'm like, oh, it's J.J. Perry. And he's a really nice guy. He's super sweet, super awesome. But anyway, the movie itself looks great. It co-stars Dave Franco as someone, he's not a vampire hunter. It looks like he gets caught into the mix of the vampires somehow. Megan Good is in the movie. She plays Fox's ex-wife. Scott Adkins, for all you action fans, he's in there as well. I don't think he's going to be in it a long time because he's kind of briefly in the trailer, but he is in the movie cast. So there is that. And the big one that will probably get a lot of people to go watch this movie, besides Jamie Foxx and besides vampires and besides the way it looks, Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg is in the movie. It looks like he plays a friend of Jamie Foxx's character, who's also part of the union, and tries to get him back in the union because it looks like Jamie Foxx has doesn't have the best reputation in the union, and he actually got kicked out. And I guess Snoop Dogg is kind of vouching for him that he's, you know, changed and he will be a better hunter on this case. So yeah, it looks great. The vampires look interesting. It looks like they use body contortionists for the vampires because the vampires are moving really, really weird, and you can tell it's not CG. You can tell that they actually got like people in Cirque du Soleil or something for the vampires because no body bends like that and certain stuff. So it looks cool. It looks fun. Again, it's an action comedy because you got Dave Franco in there and they're cracking jokes a little bit. But yeah, this looks great. I don't know. I was looking forward to it. I was worried that it wouldn't be good, but it does look good. And hopefully it is good. We don't have to wait too long for this. Day Shift will stream on Netflix on August 12th. So, yeah. All right. That was a very long trailer talk. All the trailers are linked down below in the description / show notes area. There'll probably be some other trailers because I know there was going to be at least one more trailer. I don't know if it probably came out and I just missed it, but I know there was going to be another trailer for the movie Bodies, 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 which we talked about briefly when the first trailer came out. I think the trailer did come out. I probably just missed it. But that'll be down there as well if you want to go check that out. And then any other trailer that drops, you know, while I'm editing or whatever will be down there as well. So check out all those trailers for the first time or just want to go check them out again. And yeah, that's trailer talk. Let's move on to this week's movie news items of the week. All right, so we're going to start off. It's been a little bit, but we're going to start off with some delays. Delays. Remember, you know, back in a couple years ago when the pandemic started and all we talked about really was delays in the podcast. Yeah, they're back. No COVID delays, just basic delays, I guess. I mean, one of them is COVID related, but anyway, moving on. The remake of Train to Busan, which is titled The Last Train to New York, which was scheduled for April 21st of 2023, has been delayed for an unknown date. There's no official reason for the delay, but considering there hasn't been any casting updates, it makes sense that, you know, they would delay the movie. James Wan will produce the movie with Gary Dauberman, who wrote the Annabelle trilogy. He also directed, I think the last one, Annabelle Comes Home. He also wrote The Nun, the It movies, and the upcoming Salem's Lot, which we will talk about in a little bit. Having written the script, so he wrote the script, and it will be directed by Timo Tsahajanto. I'm pretty sure I pronounced the last name wrong. He directed a few segments for VHS 2 and VHS 94. He also directed the horror films May the Devil Take You Part 1 and Part 2, but action fans will probably know him for directing the action movies Headshot and The Night Comes For Us, both of which you can watch on Netflix. I think the Devil May Take You movies are also on Netflix, or they're at least on Shudder, so if you want to go check those out. Very good, all of them. But he will be directing the movie. So yeah, there's been any casting updates for the movie, but I mentioned it when it was announced. I'm looking forward toward this movie because I'm a big fan of Timo and James Wan's producing and Gary Dauberman. he's written some great horror films. So, and you got Timo, who can perfectly direct a great horror movie and can perfectly direct an action movie. And Train to Busan is, kind of an action horror movie a little bit, if you want to look at it that way. So, you got a great director in that. I know a lot of people are upset just because they were remaking Train to Busan, but with a team like that, I'm not upset that they're remaking it, because it's at least in good hands. All right, moving on. I mentioned Salem's Lot. A new adaptation, Stephen King's Salem's Lot, which was supposed to come out this year, it was supposed to come out in September, has been delayed to next year of April 21st, 2023. Yes, it is taking the spot of The Last Train Out of New York. The reason is because of COVID-related challenges in post-production. It is written and directed by Gary Dauberman. For those unaware, the story follows author Ben Mears, who, while struggling with writer's block and seeking inspiration for his next novel, returns to his hometown of Jerusalem's Lot. While there, he slowly realizes that the residents of the town are vampires. Then he puts together a small team of townsfolk to put an end to the plague ruining their town. The cast includes Lewis Pullman from Bad Times at the El Royale and recently Top Gun Maverick. He played Bob. He is playing the main character of Ben Mears. You also have Pilo Osbeek in there from Game of Thrones. I think he's playing one of the guys. I don't know if he's playing the main villain, but he's playing like someone who's working with the vampires. Alfre Woodard is also in there, and Bill Camp. There hasn't been any trailer for Salem's Lot. I think they were like recently. Yeah, I think they recently released like a comic tie-in to the movie, which obviously now it's not wasted marketing, but the fact that they were releasing it now, so people can get hyped for the movie that was supposed to come out in a couple months. It kind of takes the winds out of the sails a little bit, but there you go. So 2 delays for you guys on that front. Moving on, Studio Canal has found a director for their Amy Winehouse biopic titled Back in Black. Sam Taylor Johnson, who directed Nowhere Boy and 50 Shades of Grey, will direct a movie off a script by Matt Greenhell. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. He also wrote Nowhere Boy, so it's a nice team up for them. Production will be moving quickly on the movie. The title comes from Amy Winehouse's album titled Back in Black, which had her hit song Rehab, which won her, of course, a lot of Emmys, 5 Grammys to be more specific. Of course, there was the documentary titled Amy, which was supposed to be very good. I have not watched it yet. I never got a chance to watch it. I do want to watch it. It's on my list. I just haven't got a chance to watch it, but that supposedly was very good and covered a lot of Winehouse's life, but this will, of course, be the first feature film based off Amy Winehouse. This isn't the first time either. There was a movie in the works a while ago that had Noomi Rapace set to play Amy Winehouse, but obviously that never happened. But now Studio Canal is moving forward with that, and they got a director, they got a writer. Obviously, casting is going to be underway now because production, again, will be moving quickly. So there you go. We'll obviously keep an update on that. Moving on, Apple's Project Artemis has found their replacement for Chris Evans in Channing Tatum. That wasn't the only change, because apparently Jason Bateman, who was going to direct a movie, is no longer directing either, and will now be directed by Greg Berlanti, who directed the movie Love, Simon, but is probably mostly known for creating the Arrowverse on the CW, where he did write, and I think he also directed a few episodes of every series that he created, or at least was heavily. I mean, obviously he wrote the series and created the series, but I'm pretty sure he directed a few episodes. Anyway, the reason for Bateman leaving is cited as creative differences. No reason on what those creative differences were, but it was creative differences nonetheless. The reason for Evans leaving was due to scheduling conflicts with 2 other projects. So obviously scheduling got the better of him. The plot for the movie is unknown, but it will involve the space race in the 60s. Scarlett Johansson is a part of the movie. It was supposed to be a nice little reunion for Chris Evans and Scarlett Johansson, who are actual friends in Hollywood in real life. So that obviously is no longer happening, but Scarlett Johansson is still attached, at least at the moment, and she will produce the movie as well. So there you go. No word yet on when production will start, but I'll keep an eye on that as well. The already announced John Wick spin-off movie Ballerina has found another writer for the movie in Emerald Fennell. Emerald Fennell was, of course, the writer and director of Promising Young Woman. The movie already has Anna de Armas set to star, and Len Wiseman, who directed the first 2 Underworld movies, Live Free and Die Hard, and the Total Recall remake. if you want to acknowledge that movie. He's set to direct the movie. Fennell, like I mentioned, isn't the first writer on the movie. Fennell was actually brought in by Ana de Armas because she wanted that female touch on the script, which I don't blame her. Because Shay Haddon, who wrote John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum, he wrote the script. I think Len Wiseman had some help on the script as well, but obviously Ana de Armas wanted, again, that female touch on it, and somehow she landed Emerald Fennell, even though there was some other writers, I guess, that she was looking at, that she talked to, and she landed on Fennell at the very end. The movie will follow Ana de Armas's character, who is a young assassin who is trained at the ballet school that we saw in Chapter 3, and sees her on a quest for revenge against those who killed her family. No word yet on when production will start or when it will come out, but now that they're, I guess, either still working on the script or restarting it, I doubt they're restarting the script, but I guess she's going in to, punch it up a little bit. We'll see what happens. Obviously, the next John Wick movie will come out next year, which I'm very excited about because I like the John Wick movies. I know a lot of other people like the John Wick movies, but this will be the first kind of real this isn't the first real spin-off. They do have the TV series called The Continental, which I think is set, if I remember correctly, I think it's set before the first John Wick movie. So obviously we'll keep an eye up on that. All right, let's move on to the next movie news item. Disney has found a director for their live-action adaptation of Lilo and Stitch. And the director is Dean Fleischer Camp, who is enjoying a lot of success right now with his new A24 film, Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. The 2002 animated film followed Lilo, a 7-year-old Hawaiian girl. Sorry, I had to raise my timeline again. The 7-year-old Hawaiian girl who is raised by her older sister after they lose their parents. Eventually, Lilo meets Stitch, an alien that impersonates a dog. The movie got 3 direct-to-video sequels, a sequel TV series, and a lot of spin-offs. So Disney saw the success of it and went with it because obviously you don't get a lot of those if, people don't like the movie. This live action movie was, I guess, I don't remember it being reported. I think I probably do, but I don't really. This live action movie was first reported back in 2018. But this is the first time we're getting a real update since it was announced. I know a lot of people love the Lilo and Stitch movie. I have not seen a Lilo and Stitch movie since I first saw it when it first came out all those years ago. I watched it in 2002 when it came out. Actually, no, I don't think I watched it in theaters. I think I watched it at home. Yeah, I think I watched it when it came out on DVD. Yeah, I think that's what happened. So I have not watched this movie since, 2003? Let's say 2003. A long time ago. I don't remember this movie. I honestly do not remember. Like, I remember certain parts. Obviously, Ohana means family, and stuff like that. But I don't remember this movie at all. So I really don't have a biggest connection as a lot of other people do to this movie, because I know a lot of people love Lilo and Stitch. I don't remember this movie. I have to go back and watch it because I really don't remember a lot of the movie. And of course, Lilo and Stitch, if you follow the film Twitter, I think it was the director or the creator got into it recently. He didn't get into it, but he mentioned that he was a little upset that Frozen, using the sister dynamic, was getting a lot of the sister dynamic love, even though his movie also did it. But I'm gonna stay away from that because again, I haven't watched the movie in a while, and getting into Disney Twitter can be a little dangerous sometimes. But yeah, I haven't watched the movie in a while. But director wise, Marcel the Shell with Shoes On, like I mentioned, is getting a lot of love online and with critics. So I haven't watched it yet, just mainly because there's not a lot of theaters in my area playing it. So I think one of my theaters is going to play it soon, so I'll definitely get a chance to go watch it. And I know it's still kind of expanding in some areas, so if you haven't watched it yet, I hear a lot of good things about it. It's supposed to be really, really good. And if he can pull that off, which some of it I believe is stop motion and with a little CG added in there, I think he can probably pull this off. So yeah, all right, let's see. Let's hope and see what happens with that. Moving on to the next movie news item. We only got 2 movie news items left, so this is one of the final ones. Daniel Kaluuya will officially not return for Black Panther Wakanda Forever. That was reported this week. The reason was due to scheduling conflicts with filming Jordan Peele's Nope, which will come out next week. Kaluuya played Kabe, the friend of T'Challa and the husband of Daniela Guerrero's character, Okoye, who is expected to return in the sequel. A bummer, but understandable in the world of Hollywood, especially with this COVID-filled Hollywood, because if there wasn't COVID, maybe he could have done both movies, or he could have at least, flew back and done like a little cameo in there. But obviously that now with, COVID Hollywood, it's not going to happen. In fact, Black Panther Wakanda Forever was plagued with setbacks because of COVID. Of course, the big one of the first big ones, wasn't due to COVID. It was because, of course, the untimely death of Chadwick Boseman in August of 2020, causing Marvel and crew to rework the movie entirely. And then, obviously COVID started hitting a lot harder, and it did spread to the set because several stars of the movie did test positive for it. And then when filming, started over again, Letitia Wright, who plays Shuri in the movie, got injured while filming a stunt sequence, which sidelined her for a while. She went back to London to recover over there with her family and everything, and just be comfortable at home. Production did film everything they could without her, but then while she was recovering and everything, Wright did make some anti-COVID vaccine statements, and with the rules that the CDC had required with all non-immigrants and non-citizens, because she's not a citizen of America, she is British, with air travel and everything, to be fully vaccinated, people who come in had to be fully vaccinated, and she wasn't fully vaccinated. There was a brief period of what was going to happen, but Wright did return to filming, and filming continued. So, but the damage had been done with people believing in Wright and having, sure. I mean, there were still people that believed that she should be the next Black Panther, but there was a little while there where, people were against her. But filming continued, and obviously, I think it's done. I don't know if they're done, but the movie will be coming out on November 11th. So I think maybe they're done, or at least being close to done. It was also announced that Wilson Duke, this has been announced for a little bit, but his character M'Baku will have an expanded role in the sequel. But like I mentioned, Black Panther Wakanda Forever will come out on November 11th. There are rumors that we will get our first look at Comic-Con because Marvel is making their return to the convention this year. Obviously, we'll keep an eye out on that when Comic-Con rolls around, which is, I'm pretty sure it's soon, right? At least in the next couple of weeks, I think. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on that. But as for Daniel Kaluuya not returning, it is a bummer because obviously his character's fate was that he probably got thrown in jail and everything. But it is a bummer that he's not going to be coming back. But we get it. It's scheduling conflicts and everything like that. It's the way of the land. We mentioned some scheduling conflicts earlier as well. So that's a bit of a bummer news, but I think it was probably expected. I don't know if his character was completely important for the tale of Black Panther, but we'll see. Maybe he'll come back for the third one. Who knows? All right, moving on to the final movie news item of the week, at least at the time of this recording. The next Scream movie has added 2 more big names to their cast in Tony Revolori, who played Flash in the new Spider-Man movies. He was also in the Grand Budapest Hotel. And Samara Weaving, her casting makes a nice little reunion for Ready or Not because Matt Benatelli Oakland and Tyler Gillette will return to direct after directing the last Scream movie. And of course, Samara Weaving was in Ready or Not, and it pretty much made her a household name at that point. So there you go. Coincidentally, they did try to get Weaving in a role in the last movie, but scheduling got in the way, so she couldn't come do that. But she's obviously made the time, and everything's lined up for her to be in this one. The movie will take the action out of Woodsboro and will set the movie in New York, with the surviving characters of the last film going to New York to try to escape, everything that happened in Woodsboro. But somehow, some way, Ghostface finds them in New York, and it would be nice to get the characters out of Woodsboro and the action out of Woodsboro as well. Even though we have seen a little bit of it, outside of Woodsboro, and with the one, which one was set in Hollywood? I forgot. Was it 3? Was it 2? I can't remember. I honestly can't remember. I always get those two mixed up. Anyway, I think it was 3. Anyway, The movie will also see the return of Courtney Cox as Gail Weathers one more time. But one of the other big casting updates is that Hayden Panettiere will return as Kirby from Scream 4, which a lot of fans are very happy about. Other new cast members include Liana Libretto. She was in the movie If I Stay. She was also in the TV series Light as a Feather. Jack Champion, who will be making his big screen debut with Avatar: The Way of Water. He's playing I believe he's playing one of the children of the Jake Sully and Teary in the movie. Devin Nakota, I think that's how you pronounce her last name. She was recently in the Disney Plus movies Sneakerella. Josh Segura, who is probably mainly known for, at least with, the nerdy fans. He played Adrian Chase in Arrow, in the TV series Arrow. That's kind of mainly where I know him. I know he's done the other stuff, but that's kind of where I mainly know him from. And another Ready or Not cast member is also part of the new Scream cast. Henry Czerny, he plays the father in Ready or Not. He's also been in a bunch of other stuff as well, but it's a nice little Ready or Not reunion going on there. The next Scream will open in theaters on March 31st of next year, which means, yes, they are currently filming the new Scream movie in New York. I believe they're actually filming in New York, or they're going to film some of it in New York, and then I think they're going to film the rest of it somewhere else. But I know they're filming. I know for a fact they're filming some of it in New York, but I don't know where exactly. But this is pretty cool. Tony Revolori, obviously, he's I'm pronouncing that. I know I'm pronouncing that last name wrong. I think I said it too quick the last time. But he did a really good job as Flash. I know, it's not the typical Flash Thompson. Completely different character. I know it's not the typical Flash Thompson role or kind of way that he's usually portrayed. But I think as a modern Flash Thompson, I think he worked. It was fine. And then he was really great in the Grand Budapest Hotel. Obviously working alongside Ray Fiennes is no easy task, but he did it. And obviously Samara Weaving. Made a name for herself. Ready or Not, obviously a bunch of other movies she's done, Mayhem and Guns Akimbo, and just a bunch of other stuff that she's done that has made her, a fan favorite and a household name since then. But Ready or Not was obviously the one that really brought her into the forefront, and to have her in a Scream movie, I think is really cool, because I think if anything, she's shown that she is a Scream queen at this point, and I think being in Scream, literally, I think would be really cool. Is she going to be the killer? Who knows? But she's obviously going to probably be like a red herring, because it's Samara Weaving. I mean, come on. But we'll see. And like I mentioned, all the surviving characters, I don't want to ruin it. Although I guess I kind of ruined it a little bit with the fact that Courtney Cox survived, because she's going to be in it. But all the surviving characters from the Scream movie that came out earlier this year will come back. So if you haven't watched it yet, I'm not going to spoil it, but they're going to come back as well. All right, those are all the movie news items, at least at the time of this recording. If anything big drops, I will drop it up over on the Twitter page. So yeah, because obviously this is going to be very difficult for me to film, because you don't know, I've messed up a lot. You won't know it, but I did. Let's move on to the movies that are coming out in theaters and streaming for all your viewing pleasures this weekend.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
All right, so we don't have a lot of movies that are coming out this weekend. We do have one big streaming movie out this week, and it's Persuasion. It is based off the novel of the same name by Jane Austen. The movie follows Anne Elliot, played by Dakota Johnson, who after 8 years of not marrying a dashing man of humble origins meets him again. And obviously, love may be in the air again. Who knows? This movie co-stars Henry Golding and Richard E. Grant. It's Jane Austen. I'm pretty sure we can all expect to know what's coming from Jane Austen. It's Dakota Johnson. It's very good. And Henry Golding and Richard E. Grant, also very good. So there you go. It's up on Netflix if you want to go check that out. In theaters, we have a limited run. Now, this is interesting, because we have a limited run movie. I think it's only for this week. So if you have a chance to watch it in theaters, go ahead and watch it because I'm pretty sure it's going to be good. But this movie will come out next week on Netflix. It's The Gray Man. It is the new movie with Ryan Gosling and Chris Evans. Anna de Armas is also in there. Billy Bob Thornton and a few other people are in there as well. We'll talk more about it next week because that's when it's when quote unquote it officially comes out on Netflix. But it's getting a limited run in theaters. It's an action movie. Chris Evans is chasing Ryan Gosling because Ryan Gosling was like the top hitman asset for the CIA, and he's been blackballed for whatever reason, and Chris Evans is chasing him down. So Chris Evans plays the bad guy in the movie, and Ryan Gosling plays the good guy. But it looks really good. From I think it's based off a novel as well. I think they're trying to start a series or a franchise rather. It looks good. I saw I think we all saw the trailer, and we were all collectively like, "This looks really good. Why is it not just playing in theaters?" But it's playing in theaters for a limited run this week, so go check that out. It will come out on Netflix next week. We'll talk more about it next week when it comes out officially on Netflix. But there you go. All right, so the other movies that are coming out in theaters this week, we have Miss Harris Goes to Paris. It is about a widowed cleaning lady in the 50s London who falls madly in love with a Dior dress and decides that she must go to Paris to buy her very own. I didn't know anything about this movie. This movie got moved around a lot because I've seen on the release schedule, and it got moved around a lot. And every time I tried to figure out what it was, it got moved. I was like, okay, I'll just wait till it finally comes out. And then it finally comes out. I've seen a few commercials for it. It looks fine. It's not targeted toward me, but it looks fine. So there you go. We animated movie wise this week. We have Paws of Fury: The Legend of Hank. This is about a dog. I believe, it's a dog who wants to become a samurai to defend his town. And obviously there's an army on his way, and he has to prove himself. And he's being trained by a legendary samurai who is voiced by Samuel L. Jackson. Michael Cera voices Hank, and Samuel L. Jackson voices the samurai that he's being trained by. It looks fun. I didn't know. This is one of those movies that I don't think a lot of people knew about, and then the trailer started coming out, and we're like, "What is this?" And then I saw it, and I saw the trailer rather, and it looks fun. It looks like a fun movie. It doesn't look too bad. It's say what you want about animated movies, but this doesn't look too bad. So there is that. And then finally, the other movie coming out in theaters this weekend is Where the Crawdads Sing. This is, of course, based off the novel. And this is another movie where I mentioned when the trailer came out that it just wasn't targeted toward me. I have no real interest to watch this movie. I'm not saying anything bad. I'm not saying it's going to be bad. It's just one of those. It's just one of those movies. From trailer wise, it doesn't look like it's targeted toward me, and I don't know if I'll end up watching it. Maybe I'll end up watching it one day, like in the background. But in terms of going out to go watch it, or putting it on my list to go watch right away, no. But Where the Crawdad Sings, it's about a young woman who lives pretty much by herself on the marsh. They actually call her the Marsh Girl, and she gets accused of murder, and the movie is pretty much her trying to defend herself in court. And she has a lawyer, but she's trying to defend herself in court and try to prove that she did not murder someone. The person that supposedly she murdered is someone that she grew very close to. So I heard from what I read rather was that the book is told in kind of a linear, not in a linear fashion, but it bounces back between the courtroom and the memories of her growing up, and then her with the guy that supposedly she murdered. But it looks like the movie, at least from the trailers, is going to show a more linear timeline. So we'll obviously have to wait and see how that works out. But I haven't looked at the reviews for this movie. I usually try to do better than that, but I didn't do that this week. I apologize. But yeah, there you go. Those are your movies. Very anticlimactic ending. I apologize for that. Where the Crawdads Sing. That was very awkward. I don't know why I'm so awkward right now. Where the Crawdads Sings. Paws of Fury: The Legend of Hank. Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris. And in a limited run, just for this week again, The Gray Man. Those are your movies out in theaters. Persuasion is your movie on Netflix. that is it, everybody. I don't know why that was very awkward. I will never try to do that again. But that is everything that I have for you guys this week on the podcast. Thank you guys very much for listening to the podcast this week. Remember to check out all the links down below. We have all the trailers that came out this week, whether you want to watch them for the first time or you want to watch them again. Those are all down there. Links to where you can listen to the podcast are also down there, whether you're listening to this on YouTube, on Apple Podcasts, on Stitcher, on Spotify, on Anchor. I very much appreciate it. If there is a option where you can leave a review on any of those platforms, please leave one. It really helps the podcast out in the long run. I haven't taken a look at any of the review sections, so I probably should go do that. I will read out anything new that comes by next week. Thank you very much for listening. Be sure to go check out also the social medias for the podcast, Twitter and Instagram. I am more on Twitter than I am on Instagram. I apologize for that, but I will be trying to do more Instagram stuff. It's harder because Twitter, I can just go up there and pretty much shit post if I really wanted to. But Instagram is a little hard to do that. But I appreciate you guys for the follows and everything like that. And thank you guys so much for listening to the podcast, for following along and everything. Let me know what you thought of the news this week, what you thought of the trailers this week. I'm always down to talk to you guys on social media. I always appreciate you guys listening, and I appreciate you guys for following and maybe even spreading the word on the podcast. So I need something to drink. I'm going to go. Not a heavy drink. Relax. I just need some water. Relax. I want to end it here. Thank you guys so much for listening to the podcast this week. I very much appreciate it. And as always, be sure to be safe, be good people, take care of yourselves out there, and go watch some movies.
Whoop whoop! Yeah! Give it up! Movies!